Story 13. The laughter that lives below. There is a place beneath the city where the light never reaches, where the sound of dripping water echoes like laughter through long-forgotten tunnels. You've walked past its entrances your whole life. Grates that whistle when the wind hits just right, manholes that feel warm in the dead of winter, staircases behind locked gates that descend into darkness deeper than their length should allow. The first time you hear the laughter, you think it's a trick of the sewers. But it isn't. It's too human. Too knowing. Like someone telling a joke with no punchline, and knowing you're the only one who doesn't get it. It follows you. In elevators. Through subway cars. You start seeing shadows in your peripheral vision that are shaped like people, but not quite. Limbs that are too long. Smiles that curve the wrong way. You find a torn flyer one day, pasted to the side of an old train station wall. Free show one night only deep below the city. Laughter guaranteed. No address. Just a red spiral drawn in marker. Something about it feels old. Ritualistic. Like something meant to be buried. But you go. Because the laughter hasn't stopped. Because it started to respond when you talk to yourself. Because last night you woke up with your hands bruised and your shoes muddy. Because your dreams are filled with flickering stage lights and bleeding curtains. Because there's something down there waiting for you. And it knows your name. Chapter 1. The spiral. The flyer disintegrates between your fingers like ash soaked in memory. The red spiral stays burned into your retinas, etched behind your eyelids every time you blink. You dream of it. You wake up tracing its shape on your bed sheets. It's raining when you go looking. The kind of rain that doesn't smell like sky water but like rust and old wires. Your coat is soaked by the time you reach the first grate. You press your face to it. Behind the bars, stairs. There shouldn't be stairs. You follow a feeling instead of a map. Down alleyways that twist into places that don't appear on GPS. Your phone glitches every time you turn a corner. At one point it tells you the date is 1971. You laugh. So does something else. It echoes up from the storm drain beneath your feet. It sounds like it's directly under you, pressed against the underside of the concrete, giggling like it knows what shoes you're wearing. You find the door by accident. Black, metal, no knob. Just the red spiral. You touch it. It's warm. It opens without a sound. And swallows you whole. Chapter 2. The theater with no name. The stairs behind the spiral door go down farther than they should. You count the steps in your head until the numbers feel meaningless. The light above you disappears after the first 10. After that, it's only the faint glow of something deeper pulling you forward, like stage lights filtering through a fog that shouldn't exist underground. The air changes. It thickens. Smells like dust and perfume. Old velvet and dried blood. You reach the bottom. A hallway stretches out ahead, impossibly long. Its walls are lined with faded posters, shows that never happened, starring people with no faces. Their names are scribbled out, redacted in thick marker or smeared into obscurity. Each one has a smile drawn over where their mouths should be. The laughter starts again. Soft at first, then overlapping. Dozens of voices giggling from just beyond the edges of your vision. You walk. The carpet is damp. It squishes beneath your feet, sticky and warm like it's been feeding on footsteps for years. The walls breathe. You don't notice at first, but they exhale when you pass. You reach the end of the hall. There's a door. A ticket booth beside it, unmanned, but covered in yellowing paper slips. One floats to the floor as you approach. It reads, Admit 1, non-refundable, and no re-entry. You pocket it. You don't know why. The door opens on its own. Inside, a theater carved into the earth itself. No concrete. No metal. Just bones and roots and velvet. The seats are uneven, some shaped like thrones, others like hospital beds. A few are still occupied. By what, you don't know. You don't look directly. The stage is lit. Not by bulbs, but by something else. Something that hums and flickers like it's alive. You hear movement. Behind the curtain. You try to leave. The door is gone. In its place, a mirror. You are not in it. You sit. Because what else is there to do? You sit in a seat that shifts under your weight, adjusting to your shape like it's remembering you. The curtain rises. There's no one on stage. Only laughter. And the show begins. Chapter 3. The monologue. There's no actor, no MC, no grand entrance. The curtain rises, and the laughter swells like applause, rising from everywhere at once, above you, beneath your seat, behind the walls. You glance around, but the crowd is faceless. They shift when you look at them, like they know they shouldn't be seen. A spotlight flickers on stage. It doesn't land on anyone. It lands on a chair. A wooden chair in the center of the stage, bathed in light like a condemned man waiting for trial. Then you hear it. The voice. It comes from the ceiling, but it also whispers from beneath the floor. It sounds like you, but older. Tired. Desperate. I was here before, it says. And I laughed when I shouldn't have. A pause. The audience titters. A soft ripple of chuckles, not out of joy, but recognition. As though they've heard this before, 100 times, 1,000. I thought it was just a joke. The voice continues. Just a show. Just a dream. But then the lights didn't turn off. Then the applause didn't stop. Then I realized I wasn't in the audience anymore. Silence. A heavy, waiting silence that watches you. Then footsteps. Not yours. Not human. The kind that click wrong against the stage. The spotlight shifts. A figure stands beside the chair now. But it isn't clear. It shifts like it's made of smoke and old memories. Its face is a blur of familiar features, a patchwork of people you've known, people you've forgotten. A collage of voices. It opens its mouth. And your voice comes out. I remember you. You don't respond. You can't. Because your mouth is gone. The laughter behind you begins again, louder now, crueler. The figure in the spotlight sits down and begins to perform your life. Scene by scene, word for word. Moments you don't remember until you see them played back. Your childhood. But not how it happened. Your worst fears. But staged with applause. Your pain. Turned into a joke. And the laughter won't stop. You try to stand. Your body doesn't move. The seat has grown arms. They hold you gently, but firmly. Like a parent. Like a coffin. The stage bleeds shadows. And the next act is about to begin. Chapter 4. The encore. Below. There is no line between act and reality now. The stage expands outward, swallowing the walls of the theater, stretching impossibly far into tunnels that flicker like film reels. Your seat is gone. The crowd is gone. There is only you, and the spiral, and the stage, infinite. The figure playing you splits in half. One becomes the version of you that never escaped your childhood home. The other becomes the version of you that laughed when someone screamed for help. They begin a duet. One sobs. One cackles. The sound harmonizes like a hymn to something that does not love you, but remembers you perfectly. Lights flicker. The spiral appears in the air, burning, floating, breathing. It speaks now, not in words, but in sensation. Memory. You feel it. The time you buried something alive and pretended it was a dream. The time you stood at a party smiling while your teeth clenched from guilt. The time you forgot someone important. Not out of malice. Out of cowardice. The theater walls pulse. They are made of teeth now. Mossy, breathing, open-mouthed. The laughter turns into chewing. The stage is a tongue. The spiral expands like a pupil dilating in absolute black. You try to run. There is no floor. You fall. Not downward but inward. Chapter 5. The trapdoor. You land in your own apartment. But it's wrong. Everything is facing the opposite direction. Your furniture. Your photographs. Even the light switch is on the wrong side. You blink. Every picture frame holds a photo of you at this very moment, blinking. And behind you, in every picture, is the spiral. You turn. There's a door that wasn't there before. It's made of velvet. It breathes. On it is a sign. Headliner's dressing room. You go in. There is a mirror. You are already sitting in front of it. Your reflection turns to you, smiles, and says, "We knew you'd make it." It lifts something from the table, a mask made of your own skin, but younger. Fresher. The you that laughed too often. It places it on your face. You scream. The reflection doesn't. It mouths something. You lip read it. Now it's your turn. Chapter 6. The final after you are on stage again. But the seats are empty. Only mirrors now. Thousands of them, each reflecting you in a different version, crying, laughing, screaming, smiling too wide, sewn shut, rotting, clapping, whispering. They rise from their seats, one by one, and begin to applaud. They do not stop. The spiral behind you cracks open like an eye. Light pours from it, and you speak. But it isn't your voice. It's the city's. It's every pipe, every forgotten hallway, every damp tunnel whispering. You're part of us now. The show never ends. The applause becomes thunder. The spiral swallows the mirrors. The mirrors swallow you. Epilogue. The grate that laughs. People walk past the rusted grate downtown. They don't notice the warmth. They don't question the sound. But sometimes, when the rain hits it just right, you can hear it. The laughter. And if you listen closely, you'll hear your own voice among them, welcoming someone new. The curtain never falls. Not down here. Not below. Story 12. The room with the moving walls. You don't remember checking in. That's what makes it worse. You remember the drive, the long stretch of highway flanked by pine trees that lean just a little too far into the road. You remember the diner, the waitress with the too wide smile who refilled your coffee even though you never touched the cup. But the motel? You only remember waking up in the room. Room 231. No windows. A TV that only plays static. The wallpaper is pale green with faded birds that shift positions when you're not looking. The air smells like copper. The walls are too close together. Every time you blink, the room feels smaller. You try the door. Locked. You try the phone. It dials by itself and someone breathes on the other end. You hang up. Then the walls move. Not a lot. Just enough to notice. Just enough to make your breath catch. The ceiling lowers half an inch. The floor rises half an inch. You sit on the bed. The sheets are damp. The mattress feels like it's filled with soil. Something shifts beneath you. The lights flicker. On the wall above the bed is a painting. You don't remember seeing it before. It's of this exact room. Except in the painting, there's someone else sitting on the bed. Their face is a blur, like a long exposure. You can't tell if they're facing you or away. You blink. Now the figure is standing. The walls creak. They're closer again. You try to scream. Nothing comes out. The TV turns on. Static. Then a voice. Room 231 is now occupied. You pound on the door. Your fists leave wet marks on the wood. The knob pulses like a heartbeat. Behind you, the painting changes again. Now there are two figures. You and something else. Your nose starts to bleed. The walls whisper your name. A sound like teeth grinding in meat. You crawl under the bed. The mattress breathes. You whisper to yourself. You tell yourself this isn't real. That it's a dream. A mistake. But the room is still shrinking. And the last thing you hear before the walls press your ribs into your lungs is the phone ringing. Just once. Then silence. Then darkness. Then nothing. And in the next town over, someone else pulls off the road. There's a vacancy sign glowing red. Room 231. Still warm. Story 11. The other exit. The exit didn't exist until I noticed it. That's what the janitor told me. It was tucked behind a wall panel in Terminal B of the airport. No sign, no lighting, just a rectangle of black between two vending machines that hadn't worked since 2003. The janitor was older than time. Yellow gloves. Duct-taped broom. He said he'd only seen it once before, back when the Gulf War was still a rumor and phones had cords. I was delayed. 18 hours, they said. Mechanical issue. No new gate info. So I wandered. I shouldn't have. The hallway beyond the exit was narrow. Cold. It felt wrong, like walking into an MRI machine while still awake. There was no sound except the soft hum of invisible machinery behind the walls. 10 steps in, the floor changed from tile to carpet. Then to wood. Then to something spongy that made my bones ache. A sign appeared. Welcome to Terminal Infinity. I didn't laugh. The hallway opened into a massive atrium. Bigger than any airport I'd ever seen. No people. No planes. Just endless rows of gates marked with symbols I couldn't read. Not numbers. Not letters. More like memories painted in iconography. A childhood house on fire. A mirror with a handprint on the inside. An ocean filled with teeth. The intercom crackled. Final boarding call for Flight 000. Gate NOW. I checked my boarding pass, blank. Just a single phrase typed in courier font. The other exit. I walked. Every 10 gates or so, I passed vending machines full of strange items. Eyeglasses filled with sand, compasses with no needle, photographs that changed every time I blinked. I didn't touch anything. Eventually I found the gate. Gate NOW. There was no plane. Just a door. Next to it stood a woman in an old-fashioned stewardess uniform, her mouth stitched shut. She held out a boarding ramp shaped like a spiral staircase. I took the first step. And then the next. And then the next. Each step made a sound. Not a creak, more like a word, whispered backwards. I stopped hearing my own thoughts by step 30. By step 100, I stopped remembering what they were. At the top was another hallway. This one mirrored. My reflection didn't move like I did. It walked slower. Looked scared. Mouth open, eyes wide, mouthing something I couldn't hear. I reached a terminal labeled in flickering neon. You left yourself behind. There were no seats. Only mirrors. I stepped into one. And found myself back in Terminal B. Same vending machines. Same broken announcements. Except this time, no people. No flights. And when I looked behind me, the hidden exit was gone. I've been walking this airport for days. Every hallway leads back to itself. Every clock shows a different time. And sometimes, I catch glimpses of the janitor. Always just around the corner. Always sweeping. I think I'm still waiting to board. But I don't know where I'm going. Or if I already left. Story 10. The Sky Train That Never Stops. The station wasn't on any map. I only found it because of a billboard half buried in ivy that read, Transfer to Line S, skyward, beyond all destinations. It was 3 a.m. and I'd been driving all night, trying to outrun the kind of thoughts that echo louder in motion. I pulled off the road and found myself following cracked asphalt to what looked like a dead mall. A shell of a place, long abandoned, crawling with rust and graffiti. But there, behind a chain-link fence, was the mouth of a tunnel. No signs, no lights. Just a staircase that spiraled upward and disappeared into the dark. I should have walked away. But something in me wanted to know where that staircase led. I climbed. And climbed. And climbed. Until the air thinned and my ears popped. Until the stars seemed closer than the ground. And at the top, a platform, carved from iron and fog, hanging in the air like a hallucination. Then I heard it. The sound of an oncoming train. But there were no tracks. Just sky. Then, out of the clouds, it arrived. A monorail of impossible length, gliding through nothing. Its surface shimmered with lights like stars underwater. Its doors opened with a sigh. Inside, the car was silent. Plush blue seats. Warm lighting. No passengers except one, a woman in a black dress with mirrored sunglasses, seated in the back. "Is this line S?" I asked. She nodded once. "Where does it go?" She tapped her wristwatch and said, "As far as you're willing to forget." I stepped in. The doors closed behind me. The train moved without sound. Through clouds, through layers of night, through pieces of cities that floated like memories, half-built towers, stairwells that led to nothing, office chairs spinning in vacuum. Every so often, we passed the station. They hung in space like abandoned theme parks. Some were filled with people who never boarded. Some held statues that waved. One was completely upside down. Another was full of mannequins that slowly turned to face us as we passed. I tried to speak to the woman again, but she was gone. In her seat, there was a notebook. I opened it. Each page was filled with names. Each name was crossed out. The next page was blank. I sat. Time moved strangely. I slept without sleeping. Dreamed while awake. Other passengers appeared, some in hazmat suits, some dressed like flight attendants from the 60s, others naked and unbothered. No one spoke. We only stared out the window at the endless, unraveling track of reality. Stations started repeating. Or I thought they did. The mannequin station now had blood smeared on the windows. The upside-down one now had fire leaking from its stairwells. I tried to leave at the next stop, but the doors wouldn't open. A voice came over the speaker system, brittle and calm. "Exiting before acceptance is dangerous. Please remain seated until you are no longer yourself." I checked my wallet. My ID was gone. In its place was a laminated pass with the symbol of a spiral. The longer I rode, the more I forgot. Not everything. Just me. I couldn't remember where I'd boarded. Couldn't remember what I'd been running from. Names, places, faces, they slid off my brain like oil. One day, maybe a weekend, maybe a year, I found a window covered in condensation. I wiped it clean and saw myself, standing on a station platform, watching the train go by. I didn't get on. He just stood there, watching. Then the clouds swallowed him. A chime rang. The speakers whispered, "Next stop, never." The train began to slow. Outside, I saw a staircase leading upward into black. I thought about stepping off, about climbing again. But I stayed. Because the further this train goes, the less it hurts. And maybe, someday, I'll forget that I was ever trying to leave.